We're doing another market watch for Dynasty Fantasy Football, and today we're going to be looking at those running backs. We're going to look at the rookies on top of the incumbent veterans on their team, just looking at their player values, looking at how the market is gauging them, looking at the advanced metrics and everything else to see whether you want to buy, sell, trade, set it on fire, whatever you want to do with this data. It's going to be right here. That means you need to click that subscribe button right now. This is the only channel going hard in the paint every single day this off season, in season, from the top to the bottom, from high school recruits to Devy to Dynasty, mini camp, training camp. I'm here for you. Click that button. Stop missing out. We're going to start things off with James Conner, and we're looking at the market here. And after the draft with Trey Benson, it didn't drop with recent ADP. RB32, ADP 112. And he's down so far, really, that people are still taking stabs at him. When he's on the field, he's productive. He's going to be on the field this year. You're going to get production as long as he's healthy on the field. That is the big question here. He's a very good running back. He's very good between the tackles. We know we're not playing the long game with him. Really depends on what else is on the board. If you're still building at wide receiver, at this point in the draft at 112, I'm still looking at younger players and wide receivers. It really depends on where I'm at running back. I might be starting to look at running back here. Maybe. Really depends on the values here. Fundamentally there, I'm still looking at wide receiver, maybe upside tight end. Really depends on how the draft is shaking out. James Conner, though, I like him better for trade. I like better trying to buy him for trade if I'm a win now team. If I'm middle of the road, if I have to guess or I'm not 100% confident that I'm not going to win my league and win some money, he's got to go. He's got to go. But if I feel good that I can win some money this year, then he's on my team. I'm going to try and get him. And the best time to get him is probably now, because right before the season, I believe you're going to see that line go up a tiny bit. He's going to be less liquid mostly. People are not going to be trading right before the season because they're going to be like, hey, I might as well get the fantasy points. He's here, and if they were going to sell him, they would have done it earlier because he is an older running back prospect. Again, if I'm rebuilding, I'm not confident I'm winning money, he's gone. If I feel good that I can win some money, he's there. Because look at the green candlesticks down there in his chart from last year. When he's on the field, he can be an RB1. He can be productive. It's the injury history. It's the long-term viability for your fantasy team. It really depends on how you're built and where you're going to go. In startups, I want them cheaper than RB32, and I think that can happen in some startup drafts. I really do, especially as we get deeper into the season. I think rookie FOMO in some leagues is hotter than others. And that being said, rookie FOMO, Trey Benson, RB16, ADP 73.83. I like him best in rookie drafts, but production-wise, 905 yards 2023, 994 yards 2022, 45 missed tackles. The thing about Trey Benson, we know if something happens to James Conner, he's going to be shot out of a cannon in this offense. He's going to have that speed. He's going to give you some sort of ROI on the market, but it's kind of high right now. As you see, I don't have the chart for it because it's like 2 lines right now. It's not really going to tell you much in variance, but RB16 and ADP is kind of up there. So you really need him to take over this backfield, which could happen with James Conner being an older running back. It's just not going to be given to him. James Conner is going to be the guy until the wheels fall off. But those wheels could fall off. But with Trey Benson, we got good size, adjusted athleticism. I don't think you're going to get him very easily in trade. I think people are going to be holding tight. They just drafted him in rookie drafts. In startup drafts, you're paying RB16 price tag at 73 ADP. I think you're still building wide receiver here. Again, young running backs with upside's okay this early, but you may be looking at some wide receivers here to really round out your depth chart, and you're playing money ball running back. That being said, he's a running back that I'm looking at in startup drafts, but it might not be happening too much. I'll really diversify my shares to the wide receiver spot. That being said, Kyren Williams, RB7, dropped from RB6 to RB7 over the last month in ADP. ADP of 29.67. He's still up there. He's like a second rounder, third rounder, a fringe guy there. We know about him. He gets a lot of workload, a 74.8% opportunity share. Too much workload. too much workload, so they had to bring in Blake Corum. They have to slow things down. Maybe that can add some longevity to his career. However, Kyren Williams at this price tag, I see it dipping sooner than later. Once we get some buzz on Blake Corum in training camp or something, I see it dipping a little bit. Same thing, but a little bit hotter than James Conner. If I'm a win now team, I'm cool. I'm holding. I'm going to get that money. I'm going to try and get that bag, and hopefully you handcuffed him with Blake Corum in your rookie draft. I would have put a little bit premium on him. But I'm holding. I'm trying to get that money. We're here to get that money. We're not here to have sexy rosters. So if you're win now, you're holding tight. Maybe you can catch them at a discount. The market's saying we're holding tight. That's what the market's saying. You're seeing a flat line here. They did not care about the Blake Corum draft pick. That's what the ADP's saying. It's saying he's not liquid. It's saying that no one's going to want to pay that price tag to try to win now because you're going to have to mortgage a little bit. And maybe it's better to pick up running backs in season who are veterans, who are more journeymen, who are giving you production for like 2-3 week spurts at a time, and you start dealing away your cheaper draft picks. That might be the smarter move because it looks like people are not moving him on the market, and you're probably going to have to pay more than you should. But if you can get cheaper than this, if you can get like ADP 50 value or cheaper, you're going to feel okay. But if you're win now, you're good. But if you're rebuilding, or if you don't feel good about winning money this year or even next year, we can put next year into focus too, then you got to go. You got to go Kyren Williams. Blake Corum. If you got Kyren Williams, I'm going to try and get Blake Corum. Blake Corum, I'm putting premium on him in my rookie drafts. RB 27, ADP 102. Look at his 2022 season. 1,400 yards. That was when he was healthy. Right before that knee injury, he was going off. One of the top running backs in the country. And then we had a ramp up in 2023 in the start of the season. Came on during the back end. Really, you want to look at his 2022 year. That's when he was healthy. That's when he was rolling. That was when he was more Blake Corum. Blake Corum 2023 ramping up from the knee injury. So don't get too focused on that. Decent draft capital on a team that wants to give the running backs to work in the passing game. He fits the mold for this team because they're looking at running backs here that are dependable. They want dependable running backs, and he is dependable. That's what we've been saying all offseason. Someone's going to draft him who wants a dependable running back that's good in the passing game, good between the tackles, not super flashy. That's Blake Corum. He can churn out yards. He can hold some volume. That's Blake Corum. RB 27, 102 ADP. A little rich for the blood still. But if you want to get young at running back, you're feeling good at wide receiver, it's okay. It's okay. I think a lot of times I'll be pivoting to wide receiver still, trying to be really good with the depth there, and looking at Blake Corum maybe as a diversification piece due to that value. But again, if I have Kyren Williams, I'm putting a little bit of premium on Blake Corum in rookie drafts. Josh Jacobs, RB 15 right now in ADP. He took a little bit of a dive, though. If you look at the chart down there right below me, he took a little bit of a dive in ADP, RB 15, and dropped about around 1.5 to 2 rounds, 61.5 ADP. So the market's like, what I can say about Josh Jacobs, he's looking good at minicamp, he's looking good at OTAs, he's looking fresh, he's catching balls, he's got pop in the step. From what I feel with what the Packers are going to do with him, they're going to run him into the ground. If I'm a win now team, I want him. I want him bad. With the drop there, that's an indicator that I should be kicking the tires if I'm a win now team. If I feel like I can win money right now, and I got some assets, some capital that I don't really like, or I'm really feeling like I can be liquid with, they're going to use him. They're going to run him into the ground. If he goes into the ground week 3, that's part of the gamble. That's part of the gamble. But he's going to be getting a lot of touches. He's going to be using the passing game. They're going to run him between the tackles. He's not getting that money for nothing. They drafted Marshawn Lloyd because one, he came out of good value, good size, adjusted athleticism. And when you run him into the ground, you're going to need some pop behind him. They'll probably share the backfield a little bit, but he's going to be one of the top running backs in the league in opportunity share till the wheels fall off. He will probably be pushing 80% opportunity share. 75, 70, somewhere like that. He's probably going to be pushing that. He's probably not leaving the field much. Josh Jacobs, if you're win now, you probably want to get him. And he might get you 800 yards in 12 games or something like that, but a lot of green candlesticks. You probably want that if you're winning now. If I'm iffy, he's got to go. He's got to go. If I'm iffy, he's got to go. And that's the same with all these vets, really, at this higher price tag. He's RB15, ADP 61. I think in startup drafts, I'm building wide receivers. And that's my strategy. I'm going to make sure I'm good at wide receivers and maybe even tight end. And I'm going to hammer that unless value comes to me at running back. And the only running backs I'm taking is like a Bijan, a Brees, those top guys. Especially if they come like a pick or two later than they should, I'm snatching them up. But I'm going wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver until I feel like I'm starting to get to that ick where they're like wide receiver twos week to week, or the contracts ain't right. And then I'm starting to pull the strings at running back if I didn't already at the running back position, or if it's super flex, I'm playing money ball at the quarterbacks, trying to be good at quarterback while still trying to pound out wide receiver. I think ADP 61, RB 15. I'm looking at wide receiver, and if he falls below this much, RB 20 to 25, then I'm pulling the trigger, and that might happen soon. That might happen in the next month here in ADP. That might happen, but it's going to ramp up right before the start of the season. Marshawn Lloyd, RB 33 ADP, 112. Again, is really going to be where your sticking point at wide receiver is probably going to be in startup drafts. So you might be rolling with him. I wouldn't want him as my RB1. But also, if I'm playing money ball with running backs, I'm probably drafting cheap vets in the back end. So maybe you pick your rookie somewhere in this range that you want to roll with. Marshawn Lloyd, RB 33. But again, if I have Josh Jacobs, I'm putting a premium on him in rookie drafts. I liked him. One of my favorite running backs in this year's class. Has speed to burn. Not the best running back to ever come out. Not like that, but we got good size adjusted athleticism on a good offense that when given the opportunity could pop or at least give you a good return on investment. We're talking about at least climbing from RB 33 to like RB 25 to RB 20, maybe higher if you can take it over. But I look for Josh Jacobs to get pounded out this year. Pause on that, but I look for that. Miles Sanders, he's dead. Chuba Hubbard's dead. They are just gateway pieces right now. They're dropping in value. They're sinking. Nobody cares. But if you're trying to play money ball at running back and you're just getting a few scabs while you're trying to get young at running back and just building around wide receivers, okay. I mean, he's so cheap. ADP 238. We all know it's the Jonathan Brooks show. He's RB11 right now. That's what the market's saying. He's the hot running back right now. Once he gets established, once he's on the field, he's going to turn and burn. He's going to give you some opportunity. But we're going to Rachaad White here, RB13 in ADP, ADP 56. A little bit of a drop in ADP, but he's good at catching balls out of the backfield. I look for him to be used more in the passing game. He's getting a lot of volume, a good opportunity share of over 70%, a lot of RB1 weeks and high-end RB2 weeks as well. He's very productive. He's very steady. I like him due to his role in the passing game. I look for him to be a heavy hitter this year as long as he's healthy and on the field. I think RB13, if you're wanting to pull on a running back, you're looking for a younger guy, you're looking for a guy used in the passing game, maybe him at RB13. If I have him on my team, I'm holding tight. Bucky Irvin, RB45, ADP 151. The rubber might be meeting the road here at wide receiver, honestly. And if you already have White, then maybe he catches the ball well in the backfield. You can split him out. He's very good between the tackles. He's very dependable, very productive coming out of college. Failed the combine, but he does not have to be the starter for long with this team. If something happens to Rachaad White, they're not living with Bucky Irving as their stud running back. They're not doing that. Like if Rachaad White had to move on due to a contract dispute or something, or someone gave them a Godfather offer via trade or something crazy, they're not living long with Bucky Irving as their RB1. They're moving on. Sean Tucker, RIP maybe with his dynasty value, but James Cook, RB14, ADP 53 in startup drafts. Again, you're playing with the wide receiver spot at this portion of the draft. Good in the passing game, very explosive. If I have him on my team, I'm cool with it. I'm not really dealing him or moving him or really going all in or anything like that. I'm just cool with it. But when I look at Ray Davis, RB46, ADP 152, I love him in this offense. I love his value in rookie drafts. I think he's going to be getting some run this year. I think he's going to flash this year. He's got Fred Jackson's number. I like the price tag. I like the ADP. And I think you're going to be done at wide receiver by 152 in ADP. Maybe you should be. I hope so. Maybe he's a little bit cheaper in Superflex 2 with the quarterbacks coming off the board. This is 1 QB ADP. But again, Ray Davis, a good value here. If you want to get young at running back, while also money-balling jabronis at the running back. Those are the running backs that we're looking at today. We're looking at the values. We're looking at advanced metrics. Let me know who you're trying to get in the comments below. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.